Hey, it's Doug Sandler. When I started the Nice Guys on Business podcast along with my co-host Strickland Bonner, honestly, we were clueless. It took us nearly 2 years to figure out how to make money, but when we did finally turn the faucet on, it stayed on. And I'm sharing my free 7-page report with you, 5 Ways to Make Money Podcasting. Do you ever wonder why some shows make money and others don't? How would you like to skip the BS and get right to the facts about making money? How can you turn your podcast from a time suck to a bank account builder? And which one strategy have we used with our Nice Guys on Business podcast to make a 6-figure income? Finally, what strategy is ultra effective if you have an interview-based show? If you'd like a copy of our free 7-page report, 5 Ways to Make Money Podcasting, simply go to turnkeypodcast.com/money. That's turnkeypodcast.com/money. Or click the link in the show notes.
Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of the Nice Guys on Business.
So there's strategies. It's not about your gross and your net. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about where are your assets kept. And so helping families understand where are the most generous colleges and how do you get your financial house in order, and then help your student be the best version they can be. It actually can be a really fun process. When my son got into Harvard and graduated 4 years debt-free, it was a huge celebration.
What's in the box? Oh, it's just a Nice Guys on Business podcast. Running a business is hard. Being a business leader is even harder. The Nice Guys bring in top industry pros to help your business prosper in a tough world. Get real advice from real people to get you real results today. Now it's time for the Nice Guys on Business. Here's your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Nice Guy community, we are in for a treat today. Now, I can recall the days my kids first started applying for colleges. First, my oldest, Rachel, and then 2 years later, my son, Adam. Now, nothing can prepare you for the financial shock, not even a well-funded 529 plan. Well, today, my guest is Shellee Howard. Shellee created College Ready and not only runs the company, but she's a customer as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit, weaving the zigzag process of matchmaking, kids to college, parents to planning, and financial know-how. If you want a standout strategy without going into debt, you're in luck today. Shellee, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have this conversation, not necessarily for me because I'm past the age where my kids were in college and going through that whole process, but because of the, let's call it in Yiddish, we had an expression, the tsuris, all of like the anxiety and angst that you go through when you do that process. Does it have to be that way, Shellee? Does it have to be like such a hair-pulling experience?
Absolutely not. And, so many people believe that to be true, but with a plan and time on your side, it can actually be a very enjoyable experience where you learn a lot about your child and the child learns a lot about themselves.
I love the fact that you get to learn a little bit about your kid, but I'm challenged with the fact that sometimes you open up a can of, not you, but one opens up a can of worms when they start getting into the, how are we ever going to afford this? And sometimes it dampens the enthusiasm of this potentially joyful process. Your kid who you have been so proud of raising for the last umpteen years in your life, they announce that they want to go to this Ivy League school and you're so excited. And then you realize there's this, $75,000 to $100,000 potential bill attached to it every year. How do you get through the mindset? Or maybe that's not a part that you deal with it. Or I think it kind of is though. Don't you deal with that with your parents too?
Absolutely. It's really important. And the sooner you start to have these conversations, the easier they are. So instead of having sticker shock their senior year, it's like walking onto a Mercedes lot and looking at their top brand and going, oh, you want that? Oh, okay. It's a lot easier when you help them to go to the used car lot first and start the conversation and then build and grow and have that, what are the scholarship opportunities? Which is the best academic fit, social fit, financial fit? And also, the FAFSA looks at the second semester of the sophomore year and the first semester of the junior year. So financially, you want to have your financial house in order so you can lower your expected family contribution. So there's strategies. It's not about your gross and your net. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about where are your assets kept. And so helping families understand where are the most generous colleges and how do you get your financial house in order, and then help your student be the best version they can be. It actually can be a really fun process. When my son got into Harvard and graduated 4 years debt-free, it was a huge celebration.
All right, hold on. Now, let's not bury the lead there. So Nice Guy Community, did you just hear what Shellee had said? Her son went to Harvard and got out after 4 years debt-free. And I do want to talk about that thing that I said in the intro. Not only are you someone that teaches others how to do this, and you're a great matchmaker for kids to college and parents to their financial wellness and helping them with the process, you actually did this. You're not a textbook. You actually did your practical application of the things that you are sharing with your parents. So can you walk me through that? And then before you get to that, maybe we just spend just a second talking about what is College Ready as a company, and then we can talk about what you did for your own son with Harvard.
Absolutely. So College Ready, our mission is to help 1 million students get into their best fits college and graduate debt-free. And that leads into how we do it. So we have opportunities for students to work with us one-to-one. We have opportunities in a group, and we have opportunities to do it yourself. Our goal is to help. And that is truly our founding mission. So how do we do it, or how did I do it with my son? Start early. So I started with him in 8th grade, and it's not pounding college into their head for 4 or 5 years. It's really getting clear on what are their core values, what are they good at or great at, what do they have opportunities at, and presenting different things in their path to let them explore. Do I like people? Do I not? Do I want to serve a community? Do I want to work on my own? So we use what's called passion with purpose to help students figure out, okay, so I'm passionate about it and I have a purpose and I want to change things. But when they're serving others, they step into, well, maybe I don't like marketing. Maybe I like finance. And so really what we're doing is helping the student get to know who they are and what their gifts and talents are. And that's exactly what I did with my firstborn, because he said he wanted to be a doctor. And I wanted to know, did he want to be a doctor because of the money potential and job security, or did he really have a heart to serve? And so through his Passion with Purpose project, we were able to get very clear, very quick on what it is that he brought for gifts and talents and his abilities that match up with the medical field.
Wow, that is a really unique, creative way to put that together. So maybe can you share some of the oh, by the way, Nice Guy Community, stay tuned, because just a little bit later on in this episode, I'm going to tell you how you can get a free session that you can get with one of Shellee's team, get into the dream college and graduate debt free without losing your mind or your money. What you need to know, there is a free discovery session that you actually can get when you click the link, and I'll show you how to get that in just a second or two. Can you talk about some of the things that today the parents that are meeting with you, they are doing right? And then we'll talk about some of the things that they probably could do that they might be able to improve a little bit in order to maximize their efforts.
So the important thing to realize is what are colleges looking for? College is a business. A lot of people get caught up in the emotional aspect, but they're there to make money. It's not a nonprofit. And so what students are doing well is they're working hard and getting good grades. They're working hard and getting good test scores. But the problem that they're faced with then is somebody's always going to have a better GPA or test score, and somebody's always going to have a lesser one. So what is truly the magic standout strategy? It's what's going to set them apart. So when students are doing things well, that is, they're doing what they know, and that is go get good grades. What they're not doing is figuring out what they want to major in, what is the path to get there, will that career make them enough money to live on their own? So it's a lot more than just putting a math student into MIT. It's really getting clear on who is a good fit academically, socially, and financially.
You know, I spent 30 years as a DJ, and I realized as doing that job that the 30 years was not actually spent doing 4-hour events. The time was spent being the psychologist to the parents prior to the event that they were putting together and helping them get to event day as stress reduced and anxiety free as possible. Do you see yourself as it playing that role just as much as you are playing the matchmaker or the educator?
Very much so. We work with the parents to help them understand their expected family contribution, basically how much they're going to have to pay for college and how important scholarships are. So we're working the whole financial piece while also educating the teenager. But what really is important is the dynamic between the child and the parent. Because as you know, your own child can hear, do your homework, do your chores, yeah. Mm-hmm. And we want them to hear, here's an opportunity for your future. It's college. It's going to take you places. And sometimes I have to step in because when I ask a parent, what's most important, the academic fit, social fit, or financial fit, they're going to have one order and the child's going to have a very different order. And if we don't get them on the same page, it could be all out battle.
Well, I love it. Academic, social, or financial. I really never thought about. Now, of course, you think about college in the broad brush stroke, and those three things are in there, but never thought about where are your priorities in academic, social, or financial. I'm assuming a lot of times the parents come in with the idea of financial, and the kids, that's not even on their radar screen. You know, it's not even on the radar. Oftentimes they lead with social, and just trying to put them on the same page can oftentimes be a challenge. How do you bridge that gap? Because I would see that is like sometimes it's an uphill battle for either party that is trying to be convinced.
So what we do is it's all very individual. Some students have no financial literacy whatsoever. So thinking of going $300,000 in loans, they're like, yeah, bring it. That sounds no big deal. And the parents are like freaking out.
Yeah.
And then I help the student understand. I ask them, how long do you want to work for free? And they're like, what? I don't want to work for free. And I'm explaining that's a loan. You have to pay it back. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, my parents are going to pay for it. And I'll say, well, how long do you want your parents to work for free? And they're like, oh, well, wait a minute. So a lot of it is helping the child understand the financial impact of this decision, and then helping the parents understand that students don't often understand what they want to do for a career or a major. And that's really frustrating for a lot of families.
So Nice Guy community, get into the college of your dreams or for your kids and help them graduate debt-free without losing their mind, your money, or their money. What you need to know, if you want to get a free discovery session with someone on Shellee's team, the way to do that is right now. If you are clicking on one of our podcast players, go over to the show notes. There is a free link that's in there. It's yes, I want a free discovery session. Obviously, so much has changed. There is a new reality when it comes to getting into school. It's no longer just about GPA and test scores, as Shellee said. If you're ready and you're excited and you're prepared, it can be a great experience. If none of those things come into play or are on your radar, then it could be a challenge for you. You may as well take advantage of this opportunity for you to get the free discovery session, get into the college dreams of your dreams, and graduate debt-free. Just click the link. Tell our community what happens during one of those sessions so they don't feel like they're stepping into a sales pitch of here's all the great things that you can get and here's how much it's going to cost. What is that meeting all about?
So a discovery call is truly that. I help families, I actually share exactly what colleges are looking for, what your student has done well, and their opportunities. So even if you did not, decide to pursue help, you're getting massive value just knowing from the admission side what colleges are going to be evaluating your child on.
Interesting, really interesting. And I'm looking at some of the notes that Shellee had put on the landing page there, where you click for the free discovery session. This is how my son went to Harvard for free. He graduated in 4 years debt free, and his GPA and his test scores were not perfect. So you don't have to have a perfect student in order to make this work. It costs about $6,475 to send him to Harvard for 4 years, and that was the cost of his books. That's how my daughter went to Alabama and will graduate in 4 years debt free. Has she graduated yet? I don't know if this is an older landing page or if this is a newer landing page.
Yeah, she recently graduated and now she's a registered nurse at Chalk Pediatric Emergency.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. And that is very cool. So tell me about the other two ways that people can get some information from you. I understand that you have a book, and I want you to share a little bit of information that they can get if they're getting the book, and also talk to me about your podcast. I know that us as the producers of your podcast, I was excited to have a client in the college, in the financial world as well, helping, weave the maze and understand the maze of sometimes confusion when it comes to getting into college from a financial perspective. So tell me about the book, and so our community can get some interest in that as well.
So the book is on Amazon, and it's called How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. And I actually wrote it based on a bet with my first child. He said if he graduated from Harvard in 4 years debt free, that I would commit to writing a book to helping many other students do what he did. So when he crossed the stage at graduation, he handed me his diploma and he said, "Mom, where's the book?" So I wrote it and it was painful, but it is incredibly helpful. It's meant for a busy working parent as a workbook to guide you through what needs to happen. And so at minimum for $15, highly recommend going and getting that book on Amazon. And then the podcast is something that I'm super excited about. I'm interviewing past students to tell about their experience of applying to college. I'm interviewing parents who went through the process. I'm interviewing people who can help your high school student, either with ADHD or a therapist or tutoring, everything you can think of. The goal is to help your student and parents get into the best fit college and graduate without debt, because what you don't know will cost you.
Oh my gosh, so much. What you don't know. I mean, we when we first put our two kids through college, we did encounter a little bit of debt, and my daughter even more so when she went back and got her master's degree. That's really where the sting came into play. But we had done a little bit of prep, but we didn't hire someone like you. We didn't even know that there were services like that that are out there. And probably many people that are listening to this episode today are thinking, I didn't even realize that this was a business. Did you create the business because you realized how challenging this process could potentially be for the unknowing?
I actually, it was not something I set out to do. I did it. It started as a mom helping her child. What I realized is I was spending 30 to 40 hours on top of my full-time career for 4 years doing it. And so I was at my son's graduation, and a young man next to me says, "Dude, I didn't even know that kid was smart." And he was talking about my son who was giving, his ASB president speech. And I thought, here's a normal kid that people don't realize is going to Harvard, and he's doing it without debt. That could be anybody's child. And that's how College Ready was started.
The book is called How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. It's available on paperback, on Kindle, and it is right there in Amazon. I'll make sure I put a link in the show notes for that. I'll also put a link in the show notes for Shellee's podcast, because we want to get more listeners. Boy, please, more listeners to her podcast. The more listeners that we can get, the actual, the more people that we can help and get Shellee one step closer to helping 1 million people get to college debt free. I love that. Shellee, any final words of wisdom that you can share with our community as they are listening to this episode today and hearing your message?
The final thing I would leave your audience with is the best time to start planning is now. We start working with students that are 7th and 8th grade, because the very beginning, from the very first class they take in high school, will determine their college future. So for those of you who are thinking, well, I didn't do it till I was a junior or a senior, Long gone are those days. So start early and have a fun opportunity with your student to reach their dreams.
Shellee, thanks so much for sharing your message with our community today. I know we'll get some positive feedback, and I hope we get some people into your discovery session to buy the book and, of course, to listen to the podcast as well. Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to our guest, Shellee Howard. All of her information, including access to the book, to the discovery session, and to the podcast will be right there in the show notes. You just want to go over there and just go ahead and click it. It's that little spot right on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You know how to get there. Click the show notes, get the discovery session. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.